1 year back, we did one of our most controversial videos. Gabriel shared with you his experience of living 3 years with his Mazda ND. And you, the internet, you went furious. I'm here to report that he has a new car. And hold this thought. This is his new car. We haven't planned this video very well. I'm not 100% sure what we're doing, but we are pretty sure that this is a real world review of
2021 Toyota Yaris GR. 3-cylinder, 1.6, 260 thereabout horsepower, maybe a bit more.
I would understand me coming with a Toyota.
All-wheel drive.
I'm a Toyota guy. I would understand Sergio coming with a Toyota.
Yeah.
He had one as well.
Yeah.
You with a Toyota.
So basically,
my brain is not computing exactly what is happening, although, internet, we're not faking this, although I know that you have this car for a year.
Yeah.
And this is really a 1 year real world long-term review.
absolutely. Happy coincidence. I took delivery of the car on 4th August 2021, so it's exactly 1 year because it's the 4th of August 2022.
I don't know when they are gonna see the video, but if you see it this
regardless,
August, it is a real 1 year
This
review.
is like today is exactly 1 year. It's a happy accident. We didn't mean for it to be the case, but it happened. And the car has now 39,100 kilometers.
So, before we go deep into this, let's explain to the people what is the premise. What was your thinking before deciding what kind of car you want to buy, and exactly what is the case used? So, people that don't know you
Yes.
and they have not seen the other review, they
Yes.
understand a little bit what we mean like a daily car.
Well, first of all, if you didn't see the other review, you should go and watch it
Because it's
because
good.
it is interesting.
Because
I think
it is good.
So case use is the same. It didn't change. So it's a genuine daily car. You have heard the amount of kilometers driven, so it's clearly a daily driver. So if you were to write on paper what I really need like a 2-liter diesel. Boring car.
You said exactly this in the MX-5 review, and guys, you really have to go check that review. You said this. You said normally what I should be having is probably a diesel BMW
Yes,
or
yes.
a Golf.
Yes, something
and
along those
you
lines.
had that. By the way, for people that don't understand, he came out of that boring diesel thing to an MX-5 because he also wanted flair. You
Yes.
know, at the end of the day, we are car guys.
Car guys, yes.
And we want to have a little bit of fun
It's
in our daily tasks.
It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but I want something a little bit special, right? I want something a little bit unique. I want something that gives me something back. I don't want like a dishwasher to drive around, right? I don't want something that is bland and boring and efficient.
I'm sure that they feel you. I do believe that there are guys out there that they have exactly the same problem. They normally, their requirements, they point them towards like a boring, normal commuter
Yes.
car. But they don't want that. They actually want to do the boring commuting tasks with something interesting. And that creates this subculture that is like our culture.
Correct.
And we are going to tell you why this is probably the best car money can buy.
This is,
According to you.
in my humble opinion, and I have said this multiple times during this 1 year of ownership, there is nothing you can buy with money that is better than this in 99.9% of the situation that you have during a daily driving. Look, I bought the ND without test driving it, and you called me stupid for doing it. I went out I went out and I bought this without test driving it. So I'm double stupid. But this actually is interesting. The chasm, the difference between this and the ND, like this vastly exceeded my wildest expectations of what a car for this money should deliver, and the MX-5 vastly underwhelmed me. So which is the whole point of the review, right?
And I don't know, absolutely, I do understand it. Guys, I know that many of you go and watch these reviews after you even bought the car.
Yeah.
A little bit like to sort of...
Like a confirmation to get, did
to
I
get some
really buy the
confirmation
right?
price, exactly, like I bought the right car. Or maybe to go and argue with the reviewer.
Some of you disliked the review not only because of the stuff that was being said, but also because I said it. So and
I'm here to fix this. No. Long story short, I'm here to fix this because basically now you're gonna have a second person. I have driven the car.
Yes. Yes, you have been passenger in the car.
I will drive with him.
Oh, okay.
And we're gonna go on track. We're gonna do things. We're gonna do things. Stay tuned for this. With this cue, let's actually get in the car and let's go and drive a little bit.
Let's go.
We are in your,
Yes.
not your,
my very own Toyota Yaris GR. So yeah, not brand new anymore. You see, developed for FIA World Rally Championship. This is why it looks like it looks. You know, outside it looks dirty and crashed in the front and crashed in the back.
That's a very lame excuse for actually bringing the car very badly.
This is a WRC. This is a WRC car. Should we get going?
Should we go? Yeah.
Right. Let's
Actually,
go.
I can already start with a negative.
Go for it.
I didn't realize the engine was running.
Yes. It's an expensive car. It's
A little bit more expensive than the MX-5?
It's not an inexpensive car. It was substantially more expensive than my MX-5, but it is not substantially more expensive than current MX-5s. Such as,
That's a bit funny, the way prices went.
Right, if you want to buy now an ND, I'll fully admit I didn't do any research, but if you want to buy an ND now, you are looking at above 35 grand.
Yeah, like a 2-liter ND, for sure. Actually, the only ND that I would personally recommend, really, the only ND that I would say to a friend go buy is the most expensive one. So I would only get
I don't think that's an accident. I think it's like by design, no?
Also, all the other performance cars, the modern performance cars,
I think
are a bit expensive.
The point is always valid in the sense that, and this is something that we went back and forth also with some commenters, that, you know, they challenged our review, saying, okay, then what do you buy?
A Porsche, 100,000 euro Porsche.
Okay, then what do you buy to be happy, right? So, and the thing is that, of course, I see the point. At that price range, new from the showroom, it is very difficult to buy anything. Although I will point out that this car is not far above it. Actually, I think it's within the same price bracket, and the new Toyota, the GR86, is also not more expensive. So the argument, oh, the ND is the best car you can buy within this price bracket, I think it's not valid anymore.
Also, something very important is that for many people, especially people that might not have this amount of money, you know, like sitting in their bank accounts, the only way to really get into these cars is through leasing. Exactly like
like this one. The MD was leased, and this is leased the same. And I traded in my MX-5 for it. So, like, to be honest, to be perfectly open with you, they quoted me, like, they discounted me, or rather, they took the car in for like 14 grand.
Okay.
The MX-5 ND, which, if you consider that I paid 22, and I drove it 3 years,
it's actually very good, very
deal.
good, very good,
Deal.
exactly.
And I pay approximately 450 every month to lease it. So that's the leasing costs. The insurance costs is slightly above the MX-5 ND. Again, I don't have the number in my head, but it's like the difference is quite small. It is also like the same insurance that I have before, so it's full casco, whatever. It is relatively expensive, as I am a Swiss resident and the car is registered in Switzerland, so insurances are quite expensive.
This car in Greece would make much more sense. I think in Italy it would still make
sense because, but also like in Switzerland is not any different. Although the Swiss road taxes are based on CO2 emissions, and this car, despite having a smaller engine, emits more CO2. So the road taxes are slightly above what the MX-5 ND. So this car is a slightly more expensive proposition in everything. The services are same price or cheaper, but the negative side of it is that this car, according to the manual operation, is supposed to get services every 10,000 kilometers.
Which
is
mean?
a very,
it's
very...
a Toyota!
The dealers that I spoke to, they said that they are perfectly fine with servicing every 15. It's totally okay. I fully expect this car to be able to do 40,000 kilometers without any service, but okay, it's...
I was about to tell you, I service my Toyota every 100,000 kilometers.
Yeah, correct. So I think it's like depending on the use, right? So if you go a lot on track and if you do a lot of shit, then they expect the owners
to drive them hard.
This is why the intervals are so short. Funny enough, this connects to one of the things that I don't like about the car, but we will get on with it a little bit later. Anyway, 39,300 kilometers. Beside the servicing of approximately 225, 250 euros or whatever, Swiss francs, now everything is the same. But original set of discs, original set of tires, original set of pads, which is similar again to what the MX-5 ND was. So yes, it's a more expensive proposition, but it's not like is not like mentally more expensive. To me, it is just a car, right? It is.
I'm very proud of
the
that.
bumper.
I'm very proud
the
that
bumper
you
in the
treat it like
front
this.
is broken because I had a small accident. Okay, the bumper in the rear is broken because somebody crashed into me. Okay, I still, it's a car. Like I don't go crazy over.
It's a bitter Yaris GR.
It's a car. Like it's been driven for 40,000 kilometers in a year, so it's always on the road, and it's a car. Shit happens, and one rim is a little bit scratched. Like it's normal. It's like a car. It's not like a garage queen that I keep like a sanctuary. You see it. It's a normal car, and to me, this is important because it's all nice and fun. Like to have a Lotus that when the stars are aligned is fantastic, but you cannot use really as a daily car, right? This is why I like Porsche so much, because you can genuinely use this every day. You can get a GT3 RS and put like 200,000 kilometers on it and nothing will happen.
Can I hold you on this?
Yeah.
Can I hold you on this? When you have your 997.2 GT3 RS,
I will
are
drive
you
it
really
exactly.
gonna drive it like that?
The thing is that I will only be able to buy, or rather, let me rephrase this. I will only get an expensive car like this, if I ever get to the point, only when I will be able to drive it like this. So only when I will be able to afford it as a car.
Listen, I absolutely love this. Guys, keep this out of this whole cost discussion. This is a very cool thing to finish on. I absolutely love it. I think it is time to give to the people what they want. And that's some acceleration.
Yeah, this
clearly.
is some acceleration. Yeah.
But by the way, we are like in Yaris country. We're like in hairpins. We are like. Give me some of that engine.
Which is it is shocking that it's a 3-cylinder engine.
Can you actually pull? I want to hear. This is like honestly like we're like doing hairpins like. The car is quite fast. I have to admit this. To be fair, I don't think you need like on a public road. I don't think you need like a faster car.
Actually, I genuinely believe that. Okay, so look, what can you buy, right? I don't even discuss about GT3s because GT3s on normal roads from A to B are nowhere near as good as this car, right? But you can buy a turbo, right? Like a turbo is probably gonna be like.
Actually, it's
gonna be like everyday use.
I had some experience in a turbo, and it is shocking how fast it is. But me personally, I would go to jail. I would go to jail the first week.
I would go to jail with this. So this is already way too quick for an everyday use, right? So I genuinely believe that this car is the fastest car A to B you can buy with your money today in general use. Like, I mean, if it's raining, normal car, when there are potholes, when it's like a bit damp, and like this car is like leaps and bounds faster than whatever Lotus you can get, whatever.
But I do love this. I believe, especially in our track day culture, like sometimes we have cars that are like very fast on track and a very, very small.
Well, I don't believe this is gonna be a car that is particularly fast on track or fun even, right? It's all-wheel drive. It's like, to be honest, I have a lot more fun with a PDK GT3 on track, right? So this car has manual, so it's a different thing. But for the road, like everyday usage in real life, this car is this is the best car I've ever owned. This is the best car I've ever driven. And if it's raining, if it's wet, this car is absolutely insane. Small preface, you will notice that the things that I don't like could be categorized as minor issues. There are annoyances, but when you put so many kilometers, it means that you drive the car every day. You are hours on hours in the cars, and even like a small thing, like the windows of the MX-5 ND. Once, it's no problem. 3 times, it's no problem. But when you have to do this
to live with
20,000 times,
absolutely,
it's an issue. So we begin with the very first one. I don't think that the car sounds particularly good. So like the engine, although inside,
this seems to be like your thing, because I have to be honest, the same goes for the MX-5.
Yes.
It is a bit of an And our MX-5, the NA as well. It's a bit of an uninspiring engine.
Yes, this car, the engine itself is a 3-cylinder turbo. So I think, you know, when it's a bit hot and you put the window down, you can hear the blow-off valve. That makes it a little bit like rally car, okay? But if the windows are closed, you don't hear it. And the engine noise is just bland, right? So you don't, it's just, and what you're hearing now is enhanced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So,
and it's still not very cool.
And it's not very cool, and there is like sometimes a different, so what I think about the noise, I think that I don't like is that when you travel in 6th gear, approximately like 100, 110, it almost feels like there is a resonation between the actual engine sound and what the car communicates through the speaker. So it goes like, it's like you have a droning sort of sound that is not the car itself, but is like the, I think is like the sound waves of the speakers and the actual engine. So I think number one of the things that I don't like
noise.
Is the noise.
And I agree with you, because I believe that for me this is also a little bit what I don't like about the GT86. This is one of the most common things that the people suggest, like when you are thinking about like a fast, interesting car in that price bracket. Many people suggest the BRZ or the GT86, an interesting car that we're going to come back to it. And now the new GR86. But for me that is also again an engine that doesn't sound very well. That doesn't sound special. The same problem has the Alpine, that's a bit more expensive. I love it to
the
be.
The problem is that I think modern engines with the architecture, they have turbo and small capacity. They are never going to sound
Still, let's not lie. Engine, not the cool thing in this car. Let's go to the next thing.
The next thing is, if you are familiar with this car, if you have read something about this car, you know it already.
We're going to go on the cliche things.
Unfortunately,
but it's true. Actually,
it's a bit cliche and it's true. So it's like the general seating arrangement of the car, both for driver and actually potentially even worse for the passenger. So, which is something that is often overlooked when you do reviews. Like you eventually gonna
you're gonna drive like this. You have friends or a girlfriend or something.
You buy a car for yourself, right? It is fine. You want it to drive good and everything, and it has to be important for the driver to be comfortable. But eventually, you're gonna have passengers, right? And you know,
here is even worse than there.
Right. So the sitting position, I don't mind. Generally speaking, I don't mind the driver sitting position. So I know this will create controversy potentially. I think that the standard sitting position here, it is better than what the MX-5 could provide from the box. It is a little bit high. So like you are sitting a little bit high, but I don't mind it because generally speaking, the whole dash is also quite high. So if I would be like 5 centimeters lower or 3 centimeters lower, I would have a lot of dash in front of me, which is fine. It's like you feel like a race car driver, but in everyday situation, I drive on streets that have crests and bumps and corners. It is better to be slightly high up. So I don't mind the sitting position in itself, but in combination with the screen and the mirror, it creates quite a substantial blind spot. Clearly now I don't need it, but if I were to like having an hairpin on the right or a corner on the right and I want to look in this direction, this is a bit annoying, especially when the road is not flat. So imagine you're coming out of a garage or you're getting into a garage, and of course you have to look up or look down. It's quite easy to not see where you're going. And I think I don't entirely buy the things that, okay, Japanese people are on average shorter and smaller people, hence they don't have this problem. Because if I was like 5 centimeters lower or like shorter, I would still have this problem, right? I would have a different one in the sense that I would see less from the bottom, but it wouldn't matter. So I think, you know, the combination of the sensors here and the mirror and the big screen here, it's a little bit too much in the middle. But you've heard this, you've read this. Like the whole sitting arrangement in the whole car is a little bit of an afterthought, because the passenger seat is at the very least 5 centimeters higher up than the driver's seat, which is insane because the driver's seat is already mega high. And the passenger seat is
guys, and you have no idea. Like we went yesterday, 3 people to have like a dinner together, and there's like a process to get somewhere in the back, and everything is a bit clunky.
It's the seating arrangement, the seating logic. It's like assuming that this is the seating position that I want, right? So I'm sitting here, I'm super high. Like I'm shocked every time I do it, how high I'm sitting. Like, okay, this is my sitting position. Okay, everything works. I'm chilling. I'm relaxed. And I want my mate to go in the back of the car, so I get out. And of course, like, I lift here, I move forward, my mate goes in the back. Okay, there is not enough space, not so much space, but it's enough. And then I want to go back in the front of the car. So what do? So why? What is this? Why? Like, there is no reason. There is no reason. Why doesn't the seat go back? It's just... It's a combination of things. So this car comes fitted with everything, right? This is a circuit package car, so it has the cool diff, it has the cool brakes, it has whatever. It's fully kitted.
The one you want to buy.
Right. And included is like this radar, automatic distance, and the lane holding, which is
modern cars.
It is good in the sense that it works perfectly. You can drive on a highway not paying so much attention, and the car takes care of it itself, which is fine. The problem is that all these options are on as standard, and basically every time you turn the engine off, all this kind of stuff, turns itself on when you restart it. But there are some other things that are on the same kind of level that are annoying, which is eventually the car beeps and bongs consistently. It's like it's unhappy with anything you do. So this car is fitted with automatic headlights, hence you can set it in auto. When it's dark they come on, whatever, standard shit. And when they are in auto and you park the car, everything is fine, the car is happy. But let's assume that now I want the headlights on. For whatever reason, I want them on, right? So I don't need to explain myself.
It's a dark day, it's overcast.
It's like, I turn them on, right? But now, if I have them on in manual, right? When I stop the car and I open the door, the car will not be happy about it. It will start beeping because I have to turn them to auto. So I don't understand this. So when I drive at night in auto, the lights are on. If I park the car, the lights are on, but no problem. They turn off them by themselves. So what is the issue with programming the actual on headlight to also turn themselves off?
Listen, the car wants to be in auto. The car doesn't want you to do
like,
things.
I don't understand it. And this is something annoying because I tend to always drive with the headlights on, also when it's day. Yeah? So it is annoying that every time I get out, it beeps for that. And then, it's not over. If you stop the car, which is something that I will never understand. So I am driving normally now. Then I park like a normal person, like you would. And then of course, what do you do after you park if you have to get out? What do? You open the door.
Absolutely.
It starts beeping. Like it's telling you, hey, you open the door. Yeah, of course. I want to get out of the car. So what do I do? What do I want? Do you want me to get out of the mirror, the window or something? So
I have to open the door.
I have to open the door. So why do you beep?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to break it to you. I'm sorry to break it to you. I think the problem is that we're living in 2022.
And the same is.
And it wants to tell you you have to close the door. Now that you open it, you have to close it. And it needs to verbally communicate it. Audibly. Yeah. It has to be an audible warning.
It's like also one other thing is that I don't particularly like how the handbrake works, right? Because this is supposed to be like a WRC car. They use the handbrake a lot. So there is nothing happening. So you see that I'm not even engaging the handbrake. So it's a long way until you can engage the handbrake. But as soon as so like you move it 1 millimeter, it starts beeping. Although it's not on. Anyway, irrelevant. All this kind of stuff is quite annoying when you have it on a daily basis.
I feel you. For me, a few of them, they're a little bit more like, like modern car problems. The fact that this is a modern car. Even the ND, it was actually designed like 10 years back. But this is a new car.
One thing about this is that this car, right? So I don't get it. So like this car, he's so concerned about telling you that you actually opened the door. He's so concerned telling you that for some reason it cannot automatically turn the lights off when you lock the car with the key. All this stupid thing. And then it doesn't tell you when you have to do the service. There is no light, nothing. There is no light, there is no message, there is no menu you can go in to check how many kilometers inside. Nothing. It's like, I don't get it. Why? It's stupid.
This might or might not be because one of us missed his first service internal. I will just go leave it there. So I get you.
You have this huge display.
Listen,
all the information you can. Just put a menu when you go in and say, oh, you have 3,000 kilometers until
we are running towards my tolerance for negative discussion. So I want you to give me your last negative point, and I want us to actually move to something more positive. Like,
all right, so my last negative point, I have nothing bad to say about the way the car drives. So the steering feels good, the gearbox feels good, the pedals feels good, the car is quick, is composed, is fantastic. So I don't have anything bad to say, that's the problem. The last thing I don't like is the fact that this car is fitted with a speed limiter. Which I understand that you would say, why the hell are you complaining about this? So it has a 230 kilometers an hour speed limiter, which is plenty. But I tell you, you drive this car, and at 230 kilometers an hour, the car wants to go like you are doing 140.
And it can't.
It can't. And you go in and you hit the limiter, but the limiter is a hard limiter. So it literally slows down aggressively. So if you are on the highway or like on the autobahn and you have no speed limit, you consistently have to like.
I get you.
Play with the which I understand.
I understand for most people in Europe that they have like speed limits at 120.
But I tell you, this is a problem on the Nordschleife for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I could honestly believe it. Okay. I tell you something. This was a bit overwhelming for me because although
too much negativity.
Yeah, but at the same time they were not like negative enough. But I think people are gonna take it as complaining. They're gonna take it as like complaining about like minor things. But it's probably a testament that it's a good car.
This is a testament about how good the car is, and we get now straight to the point.
We don't, because Gab, you know what I want. It is a bit of a hot day. We're kind of cool here because we have like the air con, but like our cameras have been overheating, and I have been overheating. So I want us to make like a quick stop. There is like a very cool ice cream place, and I want to cool myself. And now we're gonna jump into the cool things in a bit. Let's go out of the car, show me a little bit around, show me a little bit the design and how everything is. I have an ice cream, which I want an ice cream. How does this sound to you?
Let's go. That apparently is original Italian ice cream because they are Italians. Italian things are very good. I am proof of it. One of the things that I really do like about this car are the looks. Like from the side, like a square flat side look, I don't think it's particularly nice because the wheel arch is very long. So it looks a little bit weird, but from three-quarter front and rear, it looks really, really cool. And I like a combination with the wheels. It fits, everything fits very well. Look at the bumper. Like everything is built to be as light as they could possibly make it. The boot lid is also super light. There is nothing, no material in it. The doors themselves, look, like they sound like they are like tin cans, right? And the bonnet itself, again, super light materials. Of course, the carbon roof, which I'm not particularly interested in, but it makes it a little bit special to me. It reminds me of Lotuses, and reminds me of Caterhams. It reminds me of performance of like the difference between a 430 Scuderia and a normal 430 or a 360 Challenge Stradale, or like this kind of like weight saving almost to a fault, which I really like. It makes the car feel special, I think. Right?
Yeah, can I ask you a favor?
Yes. What do you want?
Would you pass me the keys?
The keys?
Can I drive us back, as you described? Can I drive your car?
You can drive your car. You can drive my car, of course.
Okay. Just so you know, guys, Gab is a very difficult passenger. And what's happening now, which is, by the way, unplanned, I think it gives him quite some stress. Are you a bit worried? Has anyone else driven your car? Your
No,
pride and joy?
never. Nobody ever drives my car.
I tell you something. I actually feel special. You Gab, you make me feel special.
This I believe.
So, I will actually drive your car gently and smoothly.
So, done.
What do we have to do?
The same pre-flight procedure.
Pre-flight procedure. Okay, I'm already annoyed. I start seeing your point. I'm driving your driving position,
Yeah.
which actually it is a bit cool because we are like I think similar height, and I just
This seat is so high. This passenger seat is... We were discussing about the positives. Of course, the number one positive, we already went through it. I really like the looks, like this kind of homologation special, almost race car for the road looks. So that is the number one thing that I like. Second thing that I like, not in order of importance, but just as is, I am really, and this was something that it is quite uncommon for road cars, but I was really impressed by the braking. So the way it is very well designed, the way the pedal feels, how you can modulate the braking. So there is a lot of braking force. The car has very big brakes actually, but the way you can modulate is not over assisted. It almost feels like, again, it feels like a race car brake. You can tell that they paid attention to it. They can tell it was part of the development.
That's actually is a very good point. Already, like literally from just turning the car around and having driven like a couple of kilometers in the car, one of the first things that you feel is that someone actually paid attention on how every control feels.
Yes.
And it's the same thing. I had the same feeling, for example, in the Hyundai i30N.
Yes.
That someone paid a lot of attention on how everything feels. And I think it's exactly the same.
Although
the same idea.
I felt like the Hyundai was a little bit over assisted with the brakes, and it's a very natural way of using the brakes. They are very, very modulable, very progressive, very, very powerful. So it's like I really like it, and I think so. From a performance standpoint, the braking is everything, right? So setting up the car in the corner and everything happens with the brakes. And when the brakes, you are all familiar with this when you drive a rental car at the airport or something, with like a standard run-of-the-mill rental car, with the brake is super assisted. So that it is like you touch the brake and the car is just braking very hard and aggressively. It's horrible. In this car, they could have made a mistake like this because it would have made it feel like the brakes are powerful.
And easier to live with maybe for the majority of the crowd, but it would be bad.
Yeah, so this is the second thing that I like the most then is brakes. Then we go to point number 3, which is again sort of similar, kind of into the same bracket, which is the whole of the controls. So
yeah, I would say, man, can I tell you something?
The gearbox is nice.
It's fantastic.
The gearbox is nice. The gearbox is really nice. It's not as good as the MX-5.
It's not MX-5, exactly. This is what I want to say. It's not MX-5 nice. It's not Honda S2000 nice. But it is nice.
It is very nice. It's a very nice gearbox. Also, the thickness of the gear knob is nice. The way the pedals are placed, it's nice. Everything.
I'm with you 100%.
Also, the controls, the secondary control, like the stalks,
switches and whatnot. Yeah.
Everything is close to you. Everything is where it should be, and it's very nice. It's a very nice driving environment, I feel, which I really do appreciate. Point 2 and 3 are maybe a little bit more of the same thing, in the sense that they put a lot of attention on the contact points for the driver, right? So, point number 4 is practicality, right? You can't, coming from an MX-5, of course, I was more than happy to do the compromises. As you know, I am a keen cyclist, so I've been traveling everywhere with
cycling with MX-5, always having your bike
Correct.
with you.
I always had my bike with me. It is possible. It is not ideal in the sense that you cannot realistically have 2 people and bicycle, but here you can. So you can, if you drop the rear seats, you have plenty of space to do pretty much whatever you might want to do. Remember what I said about the ND. When I said about the ND, when I summarized it as the ND is a bad car, and the a little bit more evolution of this thought was, it has a lot of the negatives that you would expect from a sports car, and it has a lot of the negatives that you would expect from a normal road car. So
this has the positives
correct.
of a normal car.
Exactly. This is the specular opposite, in the sense that it has most of the advantages of a high performance car. So the controls feel fantastic. The car is quick, there is grip, there is feel, there is all the stuff that you want from a performance-oriented car is there. Plus, you have some of the convenience.
Of a hatchback.
Correct. I think this Toyota does the high performance feel. So I'm I'm not purely talking about how fast
Absolute
it is.
numbers, absolute performance.
The
how
feel,
it feels
the
fast.
high performance feel, it does it a lot better than a Cupra or a Golf R.
For example, I believe the Golf R, it might have even been faster, metrics-wise, you know.
Potentially,
like as far as performance, absolute performance goes, it might be faster, but
it's
the
not
way that it feels,
yeah.
it absolutely doesn't feel fast. And for some people, this might not be important, but I think for our kind of guys, you know, for guys that do like MX-5s,
Absolutely.
and they do like Lotuses, and they do like these cars, and they are now in a different phase in their lives, and these cars might not work anymore.
Yeah.
I think they would jump in one of these, and
Yeah,
they'll
yeah.
probably be surprised because they're not going to lose anything. Maybe even winning.
This is, you know, when I think about it, like even the A45 or all these kind of cars are extremely capable, but they feel a little bit sterile. They produce the performance, but they feel a little bit numb. You know what makes
I think the A45 is an interesting example again because it's a car that packs a ton of performance.
ton of power. But if you are in it, it's a luxurious environment, much better environment than this will ever be, of course. And you know, when you think about, oh, it sounds cool, it's because it's like it pops and screams and stuff. But driving it, so really driving it in a normal B road, it just feels PlayStation-y. It feels not particularly engaging, the speed notwithstanding. Yeah. This car just literally grabs you by the balls a little bit and jiggles it around and say, hey, look, let's have fun, right? So it is much more in tune to what I would expect an MX-5 to be. On top of this, you have a completely different performance envelope to what an MX-5 could achieve, right? But we are talking so much about MX-5 because we are coming from an MX-5, right?
Yeah,
but
there is actually very little possibility that the potential buyer of this is also considering a Yaris GR or an MX-5.
But you should. But I think you should.
Actually, it's probably the other way around. If you were thinking of an MX-5, you might
don't sell this and get an MX-5 thinking the MX-5 is gonna be more fun at low speeds because it's not gonna. It's not gonna.
Power.
Yeah, of course there is.
It's not like, and we have been saying for many years, you know, like driving a slow car fast, it's cool. And I still believe
it's absolutely true.
I still believe it, but also driving a fast car fast.
It's also cool.
It is very fun. So from where I stand, you know, like there is a time that you want more than 200 horsepower in your life.
I think we get to.
You don't need it, but you want it.
I think we get. So we explained 4 points that I like, and we go to the fifth one. This car has extremely good steering feel. Like, and I have the same opinion as Chris Harris to some extent, in the sense that steering feel as a concept is overrated. In the sense that if you only exclusively think about the performance the car can achieve, steering feel is not, it's a good to have, but it's not like a must have. Right?
Absolutely. Sometimes just as balance.
Correct.
Total
grip is way more important for performance, right? So, but I can't help but being influenced by the experience that I had from the MX-5, because the reason of buying an MX-5 is this purity of feel. Because of course there is no performance. You know beforehand there is no performance, right? So the only thing you can get out of it is this pureness, this crispness that wasn't there, and it was extremely frustrating. And you would expect this car being all-wheel drive, permanent all-wheel drive with electronic diffs and all the bells and whistles. You would expect it to be a GTR. You would expect it to just smash the bumps into the ground and just drive like feeling dead. But it doesn't.
Feel like million computers do the calculations for you.
It doesn't. It feels mechanical. It feels alive. It feels good. You feel what the tires are doing. You feel the grip. You feel the grip going. The damping. This is does not purely steering, but the damping of the car is brilliant. So the way the car drives on normal roads, it's absolutely mind blowing. It is. I tell you guys, this is the best car. It is the best car you can buy today in a showroom. There is nothing. If you are, of course, if you want a Rolls Royce, but if you want a Rolls Royce, it's a different thing. But if you want a high performance car that is usable every day and that is quick A to B, you cannot buy anything that is better than this. Nothing is better than this.
I'll tell you something, having driven almost every cool hot hatch currently on the market, you know, I think this has elements that put it between the best ones, and it might be actually the best one, because the gear lever is cool. It's exactly like the Type R. It doesn't feel like a Megane.
No, there is nothing. Yeah. No, it's good.
You know, the steering feel is nice. As you said, it's heavy, but it's not like a BMW heavy. It's not even like this completely.
It's not artificial.
Exactly, and something completely different to a GTR, and to many cars that try to be smart, is what you said. It feels like mechanical. It feels like one
unit.
It
feels hydraulic. It feels an hydraulic. It feels like a standard system, and it's CBS.
It's electronic. Basically, the only other electronic power steering that I've driven that is like that good, it's actually the Porsche. Exactly.
This. I tell you guys.
I
tell you. Look,
this is why I want to drive it a little bit.
It's like. I tell you, this is the fifth point, was the thing that I like the most about the car. You could say it's the steering feel, but in general, it's like, it's the car. So like literally, it is difficult for me to split it, because the car is just so good. It's actually unbelievable that the car is this good. It makes no sense for the car to be this good at this price level, because the quality of the car.
I see a problem, Gab. I'm sorry to say this,
but
I see a problem. I fully understand what you want to say.
Yes.
I think you drove the point home.
Yes.
Like I get you. I honestly get you. But I see a big problem.
What is the big problem?
And it's not random that we're exactly at the place that we started.
Okay.
I see a problem. This is not gonna make a good video. You really like this car. You really like this car. You just fucked our video. This is a problem. You are home. He likes it.
So look,
he honestly
actually,
likes
this
it.
is a good point.
Gab, a race driver that always complains, he likes it.
This is a good opportunity for me personally to have closure on the whole thing, and also I hope for the viewers, if you watch this, to also gain some genuine perspective, and maybe also like look back at the MX-5 video with a little bit with different eyes. So it is very, because some of you brought this up, like it sounded like we wanted to stir something up just for the sake of it. But you have to understand, so this is not a joke. So like, the car was not, I'm not a magazine that got the car for free and drove it 6 months. I went to a dealership, with my money, I paid the car and I drove it for 3 years, right?
And
so
you had some reasonable expectations.
I had expectations that were not high. I had just the expectation of the MX-5 being a pure driving experience, because I don't want fast, I don't want stiff, I want nice, I want just good feel. And the car was so disappointing. So like the review is so negative. The review,
because you were honestly
because this is genuinely the way I felt. I felt betrayed. I felt betrayed by Mazda. So Mazda should not have sold this car and call it an MX-5, because it is just absolutely disappointing. Now, of course, I said it before, I said it now. The fact that I don't have, so this car, I went into the dealership with my money and I bought it with my money. So the fact that I am so blown away by this car is just as genuine as the disappointment that I had in the MX-5. So this car is as good as I say it is, just as much.
Not, guys, it is not the hype. It's not that the car is new. You have seen these videos. YouTuber buys this, buys that, buys this, buys that, and every month there is a different car. He gets this, he keeps it for 2,000 miles, then he sells it and he moves on the next thing. And of course, the guy that has a GT4 RS and a GT3 or a McLaren or this or that, you know, I'm not trying to pinpoint a specific person, like that guy, and he tells you like how excited he is about his Yaris GR project. He's full of shit. No way around it. He is full of shit. And this is the opposite. This is a real car, guys. When we have this discussion in the podcast about which car we would buy, we actually go out with our money and we buy a couple of these cars, you know, and then we use them. We use them in the real world, exactly the same way that you would use them. And again, that doesn't mean that you wouldn't be happy in an MX-5 or that you would be happy in a Yaris
Correct.
GR. This is why we go in so much detail, so you can actually understand always the thought process. This is why we talk a lot. You might think that we just want to fill this video and make it 30 minutes long. No, absolutely not. So Gab,
Actually,
two questions.
we struggle to make it within. So, but what I'm saying is that again, if you want, go back and rewatch the ND and then watch this again, and you will see that I am exactly the same. So my feeling is just as genuine in both. The thing is that weirdly, I feel a bit, almost like I feel weird with this car because I am, you ask anybody that knows me, I genuinely complain about
Difficult
shit.
to please.
So
Difficult to please.
I am shocked that this car
That
is
he's
this
happy.
good. So I am shocked that this car is this good. So it is
We
incredible.
we are shocked.
Yeah.
Okay, Gab, two things. Are we gonna see a lap of this car?
Eventually, yes. Yeah.
Question number 2.
Yes.
Can we turn the camera off and I go drive your car hard? Is this possible?
We can turn the camera off, and then who knows what happens.
So guys, we hope you like the review from Gab. What you have just watched happened 1 year into his ownership of the Japanese Pocket Rocket, and eventually he had the car for a little bit over 2 years. He drove it for 73,000 kilometers, which in 2 years, it's actually not bad for such a car, but never on track. We tried many times to have him driving a lap at the Nordschleife, just to see what the car can do in stock form, and we never really managed to do it. Fortunately though, he jumped into my cousin's Yaris during summer at Spa, and we have a lap. So there is a taxi lap with my nephew on the passenger side, and we hope you enjoyed it.